So last night we were pouring the blank for this guy. So after it dwelled and dried and all of that good stuff, I foamed him this afternoon and I just pulled him out of the mold. And here is the blank. Now this blank is not trimmed yet. As you know, when this stuff comes out of a mold, you're gonna have this kind of stuff all the way around the perimeter that needs to be trimmed and seamed and all of that good stuff. But this is a very, very, very clean pull. Like, I haven't really gone after it with a microscope, but I'm not even seeing an air bubble on this guy, which is fantastic. But more importantly, the moment of truth, did my bladders work? And if you recall, I put 2 balloons in the cheek, this cheek and brow, right here and here. There's a balloon in there, or a bladder. Let's call them bladders because that's probably a more effects-friendly term, right? So there's a balloon or a bladder in both of these areas, and each one has a tube that runs up, back, and down over here. Now, if you look really closely, you can see an indentation in the latex, and that's where actually those tubes are. Those tubes are running right back through here and then down to here. The upside to this is there's going to be hair here, so that's not a big deal. And as a result, when I poured this blank, if you go back and look at the video from last night, I really only dwelled the front half of this face to get that skin to put the bladders in. I didn't dwell the backside. I did just sort of slush some latex around, but I didn't do it as thick in the back as I did in the front because I knew that this was going to go unseen. All of this is going to be covered to here anyway. And the rest of this is really nice and clean. So I have the 2 tubes exiting here. I have a T. I have one of those photographer bulbs that you use to clean lenses. And here we go. Fingers crossed. There it is. Look at that. Fantastic. So this is great because those bladders are sandwiched inside of the latex of the blank. They're not in between the blank and the foam. They're literally inside the latex because I poured a thin first couple of layers of latex, let that dry. I rubber cemented the bladders in place, let that dry. I actually glopped on some latex around those bladders so that they would be already kind of sealed, because when I went to dwell this mask, I didn't want those balloons to fall out, and I certainly didn't want these tubes to pull those bladders out of place. So I used a clamp. I sucked the air out of the bladders. I clamped them so that they would be as flat as possibly could be, because the flatter they are, the more extension you're going to get when we inflate them. And then I dwelled this mask like I normally do for an hour and a half to create a thick, nice pull. Let all of that settle overnight, get good and dry, and then I foamed it, like I said, this evening. Pulled this guy out just now, just plugged him in, and voila. So this mask isn't wearable because it's got foam in it, but it could be. So those of you that are thinking about, oh, this is only for display stuff, no, you could do this on a wearable mask. In fact, when I was in college, I made a Predator suit, and the mask that I made for that Predator suit utilized air bladders in order to make the pincers move. And I ran the tubes down my sleeves and hid these in my gloves, actually. So if you looked at my hands, I had like these swollen palms, but I could make the pincers move with an air bladder. So anyway, these are really cool. You can do it on wearable stuff too, but this just happens to be a display. But success. I'm going to get this guy all trimmed up, painted up, haired, and done. But before that, tomorrow, I'm actually taking Casey Love's mask painting class, which I'm very, very excited about. I've done it once, and it's fantastic. So if any of you have the opportunity to take a class with Casey, highly recommend it. But there you go. All right, Eddie Quist. He's ready for seaming and then some paint. Have a good night.